Hey, Miro. Lovely to have
What's
you on
going on,
board.
Jackson?
Miro,
Thank you so much for having me.
yeah, man, it's a pleasure. So Miro's tuning in all the way from America. I'm not sure what time it is there, but it's probably looking like it's pretty late in the evening.
It is. We're in sunny San Diego, except the sun goes down as well. It's 8:30.
Nice. Love it. Love it. And Miro, before we get into things, you want to just drop in a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you're playing life right now?
Absolutely. So life is good. I live in paradise. What lights me up is my company right now, Manifest X. So I go by Miro the Hero, founder of Manifest X. If you've watched my video, I know you go live a lot,
Yeah.
and so do I. And yeah, so what lights me up is coaching. Creating transformation, doing speaking gigs. This has been a great week. We had quite a few epic breakthroughs, and I'm really primarily focused on people stuck in corporate. High achievers,
Mm,
top performers, who keep getting promoted and still deep down feel truly unfulfilled, like a fish trying to
mm,
climb a tree. And so, getting people in that perfect alignment and launching their dreams is what I'm in the business in, making dreams come true. And so
love it.
that's what I do.
Love it. That was nice. Nice. I love the analogy too with the fish climbing the tree. Awesome.
Yeah,
All right, man.
I don't know if you can relate to
This
that.
this yeah, exactly. This question I'm gonna open it up, and this is like kind of the key question in each sort of Game Changers live show, like guest that I'm gonna have on board, and that's really the game-changing moment in the last. Maybe it could have been 5 years, it could have been the last 6 months. The one singular moment that was like, whoa, this changed the way I play my life forever.
Okay, cool. Do I have permission to get real with you, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. You have
All
permission to
right,
get
cool.
real with me and the audience.
Awesome. Let's do this. I love sharing this, although I'm gonna take you down to like my darkest moments, man, because that's when the real games changed for me.
Hmm.
We're actually gonna go a little. I'm gonna go back a little more than 5 years. I'm gonna go back 10 years, because
Yeah,
I was I came from I'm from Germany, so please forgive me for being German and my accent comes through at times, and and so when I was about 16 years old, I was in a gang, and I was basically not really believing that I could be successful in life, and I was really not meant to, go to school or university or graduate or live past the age of 18. So I didn't really have that intention and drive to be successful or anything. And
right.
it was just how I was viewing myself, coming up as a kid from a broken home, and just racism was a thing in Germany, small town Germany, as you can imagine. So I didn't
Yeah.
have a lot of strong beliefs about myself, and as a result, man, I found myself. I remember, I will never forget this night, man. I was on the seventh floor of a studio apartment. So I moved away from home at 16 years old, and I
Hmm.
had this incredible experience when I had 8 gang members essentially come in and kick in my door and like beat me up. Like had a black eye, a broken nose, and I remember, dude, they were pushing me on the balcony. So I was like getting pushed onto the balcony by 8 grown-up killers, and they were holding me over the edge and essentially making sure they understood if I wasn't selling cocaine for them, that's what they would do to me. They would finish me off, right? And I'm seeing my friends are jumping on, Jessica's on, and they know my story. But I love sharing this because what happened next was game changing for me, brother. So I found myself there laying all alone, completely ashamed, hopeless, scared to death at 16 years old, with my black eye, my broken nose, all in this dark space, right? And even the door was broken. So every time the elevator would go up and go ding, I was like, shit, right? They're coming up. They're coming back. They're coming back to kill me. And from that place, man, that was my sort of rock bottom moment, my game changing moment. Because in that
Yeah.
moment, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna live my life this way. And moving away from that, it was the same night that I made a decision to commit to my dreams, man. Because my whole life, man, growing up in Germany, from small town, since I was in the third grade, I studied English as a second language because I always wanted to go to America. But for a kid
Yeah.
who doesn't have money, doesn't have education, doesn't have connections, no visa, and like nothing, it was really impossible for me to do that. So I was told, right? But you know what?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
fuck it. I was like, fuck it, I had nothing left. So I just made a decision. And within 2 years, I manifested this possibility to be in America. And from then, the universe was just amazing, bro. So that was the first, game-changing moment to make a decision to change my life and recognize that elevator moment, that moment when you make that choice. And the reason I like sharing that piece specifically with you and your audience is like, there are moments in our life that we're heading towards right now that may be an elevator moment for you, right?
Right.
And it's
Absolutely.
like making that choice to change your life and make a change. Like I could have made that choice at any moment, you know, at any moment, but it was a choice to let it get to that point. And so sharing this with people so that they can, you know, start making changes and getting help if they're finding themselves going into a direction that's not healthy for them, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so
Love
Jack,
that.
like check this out. I want to like invite you to the next game-changing moment because I feel like way more people can relate to this one. The next game-changing moment was when, you know, I came to America, like everything, like universe was perfect. It's like here's your citizenship, scholarship, relationship, all the ships you can imagine, like everything was
Yeah.
happening for me, right? And so, dude, I was working for the top marketing agency in the freaking world, top 3 global digital marketing agency, top Fortune 50 companies, kept getting promoted. I was this super high achieving top performer guy, right? And
Yeah.
suddenly, man, one day, game-changing moment, right? I'm finding myself driving down the highway and semi truck going by on the left, and there's a bridge, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like drive off the right into the water or to the left into the semi truck. And then so again, like game change, like wow, am I really going to tolerate these thoughts in my head, or am I going to do something? You know? And I was like, I'm
Right.
going to do something. I'm going to do something, make a change, you know, in my life, a positive change. And so
Mm.
again, because I know for a fact that people right now, you know, watching, hopefully watching, working a job where they feel like a fish that's not freaking like in the water, like a fish who's trying to climb a tree, like being
Mm.
someone who they're not be wanting to be. And it's like I just want to give people like permission to, you can make a change now. Like you don't need to wait to have an elevator moment or a bridge highway moment, right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to wait until you're, getting your throat held over a balcony saying, "Where's my cocaine at?" And you better be selling that. Those are very
Right.
in your moments. They're in your face moments, but the in your face moment can be very subtle and you can act on that as well. And so, cool. Moving into the next question. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. I love that. I had a lot of like, I could feel like I was in that moment when you were being held, like the way you described that. Cool. Like, kind of sculpting into, because we get so much advice, we get so much different things flying at us about what we should do. But what's some like bad advice, recommendation in the industry, or like coming up and where you've been coming up? Sometimes when you start getting more and more successful, people want to push their little beliefs and ideas onto you and think, yeah, come this way or go that way. So what's been some pretty, in your opinion, bad advice that you've received just to be mindful of for our audience watching?
Yeah, man, I love that question. It's there's a lot of it because like
Hmm.
the different success. Everybody wants to be successful. Actually, let me take that back. Not everybody wants to be successful because they don't believe they can. But
Right.
even among people who decide to be successful, it's hard because if you look at different people like Mark Zuckerberg, Oprah Winfrey, Will Smith,
Right.
like all these super talented people, Bill Gates. But if Bill Gates tried to be successful the same way Oprah was, like he would be working at McDonald's possibly, right? And it's like
Yeah.
knowing that okay, there's success out there, it's out there, but it's also in here. It's like using your strength and your superpower and figuring out what works for you, and
Hmm.
really like allowing yourself to stay in that genius zone. Because like I've heard enough of like, oh, you've got to get everything right. It's like no, maybe you just got to do what you love doing that you're best at, and get everyone else to support you in the areas that are not your strength. You can do both, but like I'm just finding that the experience of doing what you love is just like you're doing what you love. So obviously you can't fail, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Cool. And was there like a was there a line that stuck out in your head as like, oh my gosh, that's what that person told me to do, but I'm so not gonna do that? Because I guess it's leading into the next question. It's the areas of your life that you're saying no to. You're setting your boundaries on, something that some people struggle with. So, was there a line that would like, ooh, that doesn't sit well in my system, or something that you were like, yeah, I can actually feel a clear no coming through? Because, yeah, did you evolve further and further? I want to know the journey when it comes to people for saying no can be very hard. So give me your
Yeah.
perspective on that.
Oh yeah, dude. So there's a couple of things that are coming up. The first thing, when I was in business school, and like I think there are a lot of people watching who may have a business idea inside of them, or maybe already working on something.
Yeah.
And I had a professor, a business professor in college, because I studied entrepreneurship, and he was
Yeah.
maybe like 60 years old. He was getting ready to retire, but he was literally telling us in a classroom, like, to be successful in business, you have to get everything right. You have to
Right.
get everything right. It's like, you know, part I partly agree, and also it's the most debilitating advice that I've ever heard. You
Mm,
know, like starting with having to be perfect on day one, it's just like you're not gonna want to do that. So I
mm,
think the opposite is true. It's like failing, like do everything wrong, like just do everything, do something, anything, and be okay with freaking failing. You know?
mm, mm. Absolutely. Yeah, is there a failure that stood out to you that kind of really, probably in the moment didn't feel like this was going to actually turn into a very successful thing later on, but was there a failure that stood out to you that's like, yeah, actually, if I hadn't have failed like that, who knows where I would have ended up?
Hell yeah, absolutely. So when I realized the whole fish and tree analogy, and I was like, whoa, I can't do this anymore. You know, I wish I could have told you. It was like, oh, I just started my own business. I became this successful coach and stopped working and quit my job and all that. I wish I could say that. But the
Hmm.
truth is, I was essentially manipulating myself out of a job until I got fired. So that felt like failure for a long time. It's
Hmm.
like, oh, this is happening to me, right? But the truth was, no, my heart was not in it, and I wanted to do something that my heart wanted to do, and
Hmm.
and
Booyah.
so ultimately, so happy. I mean, I couldn't be happier. Like I'm all about the 10 out of 10 life, and I have never been this happy. And it wasn't if I hadn't been fired, if this hadn't happened to me, then I wouldn't be here. Like we wouldn't have this conversation right now. I would be a
Absolutely.
fish. I would still be
Yeah, we
figuring
would
out.
not be having this conversation. You'd be checking
Right.
out still, unsatisfied, your heart's still yearning for something burning inside that wants to break free, and you just going, you know what, I'm comfortable here. This is good. I don't wanna hit the failure mark in that sense. So thank you for honoring yourself. And I would like to drop in a little different question now. Is there like an unusual habit, something a little bit bizarre or weird that open for you to share that you kind of do that like for you can sometimes just be refreshing or change your game up or it's like yeah that's my go-to.
I think my go-to thing that I do all the time that's a little weird is like I do things different all the time.
Yeah.
It's like even with my morning routine, like I teach my clients how to follow the hero method, like how to have an epic morning, an epic start of the day if they
Yeah.
follow these steps. But for myself, it's like I change it up every day. Like even drive, like I just do driving to work. Like I don't drive to work anymore because I work wherever I go. But um, used to drive to work, I would just take different routes every time. Just
Mm,
like
mm,
I just don't like to do the same thing again. Like I don't want to. So
yeah.
that's good. Like with like I do martial arts. Sometimes I do Muay Thai. Sometimes I do straight up boxing. Sometimes I
Mm,
just go for a run. Sometimes I just do push-ups. Sometimes you know what I mean. So for
mm,
me,
mm.
people like I build habits, but like the consistent thing is variety for me.
Variety. Love it. Yeah, I can relate a lot to, I was definitely in the spectrum of like, cool, I got my morning routine down and sticking to that ritually for a very long time. But now to have variety and to be able to flow in between things, and that's really staying attuned to what my body needs and what I need for the morning, and that can craft out a beautiful day. So I love that. Cool. Let's go into, all right, here we go. We got Miro. He's just been hit. He's like, I'm feeling super unfocused, a little bit overwhelmed. And what's the thing that you do that gets you out of that state? What's you're unfocused or you don't feel like you're playing your game the best it could be, right?
Yeah. Love it. So I usually do this thing. Some people know it by the name breath of fire, or I
Mm.
like to call it the X breath because I use my hands and manifest X. This just kind of goes well together. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say breath of fire?
No, please share with me.
Okay, cool. So I call them the X breath, and you can do it right now. It's like
Yeah,
10 deep, super deep breaths. I'm gonna invite you to do it, and anybody watching, like, if you're
yeah,
willing
please.
to
Anyone
have a
watching?
if you're willing to have a crazy wild experience in your head, let's go for it. So essentially what you do is you take deep belly breaths all the way down to your belly, all the way up your
Yep.
chest, all the way to the back of your shoulders. We're gonna do 10 of them, and we're gonna go super hard, like super hard. You're gonna start feeling tingly. You're gonna start feeling like freaking lightheaded, and
Yeah.
it's perfect. It's supposed to be that way. And on the
Okay.
10th breath, it's only 10 breaths. On the 10th breath, you hold that breath, and I'm gonna
Mm.
guide you just how to release that, and you get to
Cool.
enjoy clarity in your head. Are you cool with that?
Cool. Yeah, I'm cool. Can you give us one example of an intense breath that you're talking about?
Yeah,
Just an example quick.
we're just gonna do it right now. It's just literally 10 breaths.
All right,
Cool?
cool. And the breath is going throughout the whole body. So it's like belly, chest, back, everything that you got in a quick, rapid motion. Yeah. So it's like 10 breaths in a row.
Yeah, I'm just gonna guide you so you just can follow my lead. Cool?
Cool.
Serena says she's done this before, and she says it's amazing. I know Jessica has too. Some of our people on here, they already get it. Let's do it together. I'm gonna invite you to follow us. So it's like, you push all the way out, and you go faster. There you go. Now go harder and faster. There you go. Hold it, and on my count, you're going to release it as if you're blowing air through a straw as slowly as you can. 1, 2, 3. And you can relax. And enjoy the clarity in your head.
Man, that's nice. That's just like a quick reset. Hey, it's like cool. Any little stories, any little thing that's getting me, boom, just reset, drop back into the moment. Love it.
People tell me they don't know how to meditate because there's too much stuff in their heads. It's like, okay, let's do a couple of X breaths and see how you feel. Because you're right, your thoughts are like your mind is clean. It's just like a clean plate.
Yeah,
And I like
getting
to do
connected to breath is important.
I like to prime this before any meditation practice to really deepen that experience. But you can do it on a stressful day too. You can do it all the time.
Love it, love it. All right, we're gonna drop one more question in, and during this question, if you guys that are tuning in and watching, also if you have a question, I'll open up the space for anyone to ask Miro a question. Please just drop it in the comments. So Miro, the next question I'm gonna ask is, let's just say, because I've been in the university space a couple years back. I think it was last year, and I was super dropped in, and I noticed, and I really want to put this out to people that are like, maybe they're just coming out of university, they've got the degree, or they're feeling just amped up, but it's like, then what? What would you recommend to people dropping into the real world, so to speak? It's like, cool, they've just come out of high school, or maybe they come out of university, and they're feeling super amped up, or maybe not as amped up, and it's like, cool, now they're in the real space. They get to do what they want to do. What would be your little piece of advice for them?
Thank you for asking that question, because I really want to reach more people at an earlier stage, because now I work with professionals who are really stuck in a place they don't want to be. I'd much rather have them have that conversation sooner. So I would share 2 stories. There's a story of Ken and a story of David, two great buddies of mine. And starting with David, right? And so what I want you to get is the distinction between means goals and end goals. Like, means goals are the goals that, David, he wanted to be a lawyer, right? Because his parents told him he'd be great at it because he's a good communicator. And he wanted to help people. So he goes to law school for 6 years so he can make his parents proud and help people, right? Turns out he doesn't enjoy law school at all. Like, he doesn't like the classes. He doesn't like interacting with his teachers and peers. And then when he graduates, like, they're celebrating his success, right? But now David is facing a job that he actually does not like. And the clients are ungrateful, and the paperwork is awful. And so now he would be looking at a career of 30 years of more of that to make his parents proud, right? So that's, what if David could also realize that his parents are going to be proud of him, but more than proud, they want to know that he's happy, right? So being happiness sort of first. And also he can help people all kinds of ways. So that's the story of David. I want people to be aware of the David scenario. And then there's Ken, my buddy freaking Ken. Right now, he dropped out of college. He went to Hawaii to pursue photography and business, and he just started his own thing, failed a bunch of times, right? And now he's 21 years old, and he's about to move into a 4-story mansion with an elevator where 21 Savage used to live, And this guy is completely crushing it. Completely crushing it. And people don't believe that it's possible, but I'll prove them. I'll just point to Ken and say, look, this guy. I mean, if I can make it from freaking Germany, from the streets of Germany to the coast of California, and that kid can make it from freaking nothing to Hawaii and then Hollywood Hills mansions, then like literally anything is possible, you know? So the key here is to follow your heart. Dude, don't care, like process on your own what everybody else wants from you, and in the end, just do what lights you up and just try stuff. That's what I would say.
Love that. Love that. Cool. We're going to open up the space. Anyone that wants to drop in a question for Miro, please do. And I'm just going to touch on, you know, this idea of entrepreneurship, going after what you want and what lights you up. It's an interesting one because it's like not everyone is an entrepreneur. Definitely not. And for some people, the system, the school, going to uni, getting a degree and hitting in and landing in a job that's like secure and stuff, it's just lights them up as well. So if that's you as well, it's like, cool. Just being in fine tune with what's lighting you up and having that awareness when that starts to shift. It's like, oh, what's shifting? Does that mean internally my inner game's shifting and I want to play a different game of life? Cool. Then I got to start addressing that. So it's just being fine tuned to how you want to play your game of life. All right, sweet.
Absolutely.
So anyone got a question, please drop it in. If we don't have a question in, say, 20 seconds, Miro and I are going to freestyle for another 30 seconds, dropping in a freestyle rap to finish off the chat, the live game changers. And then, yeah, we'll just reach out to Miro, and basically you guys can find him and any of his services that he's offering and what he's up to if you're interested. So,
while we're getting questions from our audience, I want to point out a super game changer as well, example of what's possible, and that's Jessica, who's live right now. She is freaking epic. Like she, you know, when you talk to her, you think she could be freaking executive leader of several, you know, CEO, several freaking companies. She's the kind of person who definitely embodies anything is possible. And you would never know one of the most intelligent people in this planet never finished high school even, right? Never finished high school. And so, epic. So I think we've got some really amazing audience here watching. I'd love to know what kind of questions they have too.
Yeah, me too. Anyone wants to try a question? Free. Miro, nice. That's the Jessica we were talking about.
Yep. Man, we got Serena's got a question.
All right, here we go. What's your favorite business lifestyle book? Jack. Ooh, dropping it to me. Interesting you asked that. I've just got like a whole shelf of books. All right, I'm gonna drop in my favorite business book right now. Not lifestyle book, but business book. Look, if you guys don't know him, Keith J. Cunningham, get onto this guy. So either the Successful Blueprint or Keys to the Vault, Keith J. Cunningham. He is just an absolute beast in the business world. And yeah, I really love his work. So for you, Scott, out there, I would recommend that book. But it all depends on the journey and where you're at, right, in terms of business. This guy is just, I see him as someone that has been in the business world for like 40 years and has really, really integrated his knowledge and works all over the world with that. So that's what I'd drop in. For a lifestyle book, I'm going to open up the question for Miro. Lifestyle book, Miro, what would you recommend?
Boom. I just broke them out. These are my 3 favorites in that category. So old classic is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. If you haven't heard it, it's a must. Like, I know you've read this. I know you have. Also, complete game changer. The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani. Amazing gentleman. Just I think fundamental insight from this book alone was that, you know, you can choose your beliefs. You can swap them out if they don't serve you. And that alone was worth $1 million right there. And ultimately, this guy, he's big on entrepreneurship. Peter Diamandis written the book Bold. And it's really the story of how entrepreneurs are tackling the world's biggest problems, right? And it's like climate change, eating disorders, like all these things, just using, you know, technology. And I think if you combine these 3, like, you can live any life that you want, and you can, you know, organize your mind in a way for success that anything becomes possible, and you can make a really fat dent in the world. Like, have a big wealth impact too. Like the biggest problems are also the biggest opportunities in terms of helping a
Mm,
billion people, right?
absolutely, absolutely. I was gonna just drop in like, oh, and read my book. I'm just actually gonna be writing it soon. No, it's okay. Miro, okay, so we got a question here, one more for you, Miro. There, how did you find your balance on a day-to-day balance? So I guess really how you're finding your balance in your day-to-day life.
Absolutely. See, maybe you could guess it by the way I like drive around town or like always change things up. A big part of my life is actually counterbalance. It's like I go really all in into this one area, just really hardcore, and then I'm just gonna like really sit on the couch and sleep for 3 days because I just went really hard. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what's fun for me, just because I like the adventure things. You know, I like for things to be fucking amazing. Excuse my language. Pardon my French. And so like I'm into things. I'm into things like martial arts, like Muay Thai, like race cars, like things that are really intense. And then I'm like once I'm on a track for like 3 or 4 hours, I'm like done for a month. You know.
Hmm. Hmm. Love it. Throwing yourself in the intensity of it. Counterbalance is a good one as well. So it's like, wow. Sometimes you really got to dip into the extremes of things to find a good balance point. It's like, cool. How do I know what that's like? Oh, where am I going the extreme of that? Whether that's immersing yourself fully into it, and just getting a good taste, a good flavor, and then going, cool. Should I continue that flavor into my life, or I have the essence of that? Maybe I'll just reintroduce it today or tomorrow, or maybe I'll just want to lounge out for 3 days. You know, a part of it too is just like totally having a day off, which for most of us when we're all like, we're in that flow, we love what we're doing and stuff, just to stop and just have a day off is like, wait, what? You want me to stop doing something? Like, you want me to just sit here, lay down?
Yeah, and it's super hard. Like, it's such an important question about balance. I've learned from my coach too. It's like identity is like Velcro, never super glue. I had this story in my head that was always working, and then someday I was just like, ah, no, I'm lazy. I am watching a movie. I am staying in bed. Like that's an identity I get to put on as well, and it serves me well. You know. So thank you for asking, Serena. That's a great question.
Yeah, great question. If there's any more questions, open up the space now.
So John had a great recommendation, The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman. I've heard of this book, so gotta add that to the list. Thank you
Yeah,
for
we'll
sharing.
definitely look at that one. The power of positive thinking. All right, sweet. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna wrap things up. Basically, I'm loving the flow of things, and it's been a great, great talk. Miro, please let us know if anyone has any more questions that they want to drop in, either for myself or Miro. Miro, let them know where we can find you, what services you're offering, and yeah, just basically if you have a website or a page that we can reach out to.
Absolutely. I mean, given that we're on Facebook, I think the easiest path is to hop on over to my Facebook page. I've got a group, and it's Break Free. Manifest Access the company. You can feel free to like my page. Always nice to have people on there. But yeah, join the group. I drop a lot of good content there if you like what we're talking about. A lot of the stuff that I learned from these guys is in there in video formats. You don't have to read the book. And we always like to do friends, so hop on over.
Cool, cool. Love it. And yeah, you guys tuning in on my channel, you know me, Facebook, you can just hit me up with a message as well. Awesome. We're going to finish this with a little freestyle rap. I think 30 seconds to finish it off. I'm going to drop a beat. Mira's going to drop some raps, right?
Okay. Action and Jackson, making it happen here on the live. Never saying goodbye. Staying up all night because we're here with the 9 to 5. Time to fly. On the road to Hawaii. With no cell phone, Costa Rica. Making love with the chicas. I don't know, I'm getting silly.
Oh,
Cool.
damn.
Fire.
Thank you for everyone tuning in. This is Game Changers Live. I can't believe this is coming alive. This is already happening day by day, week by week. We're going to change the way you think. Oh, come tune in. Just enjoy the flow, the energetic motion that we're going. It's like we're floating on an ocean. Sending my love. Thank you from Miro and I. This was the first live we've ever done.
Goodbye.
Love it. Yeah, goodbye. Exactly. Awesome, guys.
So
Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Lots
Appreciate
of love,
it,
lots of support. And I hope you guys got some value out of it. Miro, thank you for joining for my first Game Changers Live. Take care.
I'm
Enjoy the
honored.
rest of your night. Adios,
100%.
everyone.